One of the things at Discover that is super important to us, we believe that the most powerful question that was ever asked was asked in English literature in Hamlet's soliloquy. And the question is, to be or not to be? Can y'all hear me okay?
Yes.
Because who you be speaks so loud that it really does not matter what you say. In the spiritual world, they say you will know them by their fruit. In the secular world, they say action speaks louder than words. So who you be speaks so loud that it really does not matter what you say. So who you be, they will become. So every choice that we make in our lives is a pen stroke in the story that Kevin was talking about yesterday. Every choice that we make is creating that story that they're going to tell about you when you're gone. So with every action that you take, every behavior that you demonstrate, you are writing that story. So I had a mom that had recently finished the Master Graduate Program at Discover Leadership Training, and I do a lot of coaching with these folks afterwards. I mean, I think it's the one thing that I enjoy the most. And she said to me, my daughter really lacks self-confidence. And while she was talking to me, all I could think in my head is, who you be, she will become. So after she finished telling me her story, Jared, I said to her, I said, well, I don't want to work with her on self-confidence. I'm going to have to start with you. Because you can't give away something that you don't have. So as soon as you have self-confidence, we can offer it to her based on who you be. Y'all tracking with that, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, so I challenged her to really work on her self-confidence. And she's been given this speech, public speech, on self-confidence ever since we had an opportunity to do this. So it's been about 3 weeks that we've been going through this process. So she just gave a speech last Sunday at our last graduation. And I'm going to offer her an opportunity, with y'all's permission, to come up and give that speech. Is that all right with y'all?
Yes!
And then I'm going to connect all of the dots. And can y'all hear me, yes or no?
Yes.
Because all of this is about you. Did you hear me, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, so let me throw this last thing on. Come this way, girlfriend. Let me throw this last log on the fire before she comes up here. And I want you to contemplate this while she's doing her speech. If you crack an egg from the outside, life ends. When you crack the egg from the inside, life begins. Personal growth and personal development is an inside job. And unless you are working this from the inside, there is no way that you can sustain the things that you really need in order to create the story that you want them to tell about you. Tracking, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Heather Conan.
You got this!
Good morning!
Good morning!
It is a great day to be alive! My name is Heather Conan, and I am from Team 268. The greatest benefit I walked away from my 4 days at Discover is self-confidence. Self-confidence. What does it mean? To my daughter Natalie, it means believing in yourself and in others. To my son Mason, it means being brave. To my husband Russell over here, it means believing he is capable of making things happen. When he sees something he wants, he will put every bit of his energy towards it, and it will be available to him no matter what. According to the Oxford Dictionary, the definition of self-confidence is a feeling of trust in one's abilities, qualities, and judgment. What does self-confidence mean to me? To me, self-confidence means being able to live your best life into its fullest, to believe in yourself that you will do whatever you set your heart to. You will choose to go all out to reach your goals. When you have self-confidence, you do whatever it takes to get to the next step. You take risk. You truly love yourself. You believe in yourself. You matter and are worthy in every aspect of your life. Being self-confident, you are comfortable with the uncomfortable. This means whatever comes your way, whether you want to do it or not, you will get it done. You don't care what others think of you or your ideas. You will knock through walls and barriers that come your way without hesitation. You will do this because you are strong. You are powerful. And most of all, you are personally responsible for your actions. You will be okay with being weird. Being weird is limited edition. There is only one you. You are one of a kind. You are awesome and special. Love yourself for who you are. With self-confidence, you will choose to be the wind. To be the wind or to be the flag, it is your choice. To be the flag, you let others pave your path. You let others decide what your next step will be. You move with the strongest energy. You move with the wind. To be the wind, you will fly. You will have control. You will choose what direction you want to go. You will live a life with purpose, staying focused on your outcomes. What will you be? Choose the positive choice. Always, always choose to be positive in your present moment. Only one person can make that happen, and that one person is you. Be the wind. Choosing self-confidence, you will become a true leader. Others around you will see what the changes you are making and want some of it too. So choose to be self-confident in every moment of your life. Really, the quote from Discover Leadership Training says it all. It reads, I am committed to step powerfully and confidently into the moment to create a better version of myself. I am a self-confident game changer. Self-confidence is really some smoking hot shit. What does it mean to you?
That was smoking hot shit, wasn't it? So y'all gotta know this first of all. Do y'all know what the number one fear of mankind is? Public speaking, it is. So she not only just overcame the number one fear of mankind, she did it with passion, baby. Absolutely did it from her heart. Do y'all know what the number two fear of mankind is? It's death by fire. So if you were to take that literally, people would rather be the charred remains in a casket than a person giving a eulogy. And she just overcame the number one fear of mankind, and she did it in an absolutely passionate, smoking hot way. So let me just give this very brief little speech. You know, a lot of people in this room that are graduates of our program, I am so humbled by the trust that they give us to go through the very tough process that we put them through. And to see all of them at the front of the room a moment ago was just humbling and inspiring to me. And I thought to myself as I sat back there, a lot of these folks don't really know my story. And I just want to take just a little brief moment, Elmer, to kind of tie that together based on what Heather just did, based on what Mr. Brown did yesterday, because that was kind of a part of my speech. So when I was 22 years old, I was getting out of the U.S. Coast Guard. I had spent a couple of years in a flight development program that was being put on by Continental Airlines. They started the first program in the airline industry to develop their own pilots. I was in the very first class, and graduated from that program with a degree in aeronautical science and aviation and had all of my commercial tickets. I mean, it was my dream come true. A little boy that grew up in the projects in Houston, Texas, getting an opportunity to realize his dream of becoming a commercial pilot. So I graduated from the program, and any of y'all that know anything about aviation, you know that commercial pilots have to go through a process to get a first-class flight physical, which is a very extensive flight physical, and every 6 months you have to go through this process. So I'd gone through a couple of these during the time that I was in training, and by the time I finished the program, the flight physician was a little concerned about my EKGs and some of the things that he was getting by way of my heart. So I now have graduated. I'm about to go to work for Continental in a regional structure, flying right seat, and I was ready to go, baby. It was feeling really good. But he pulled me aside and said, I'm gonna have to pull your ticket. He said, I'm concerned about these EKGs. I mean, it's just, so I'm gonna have to do an angiogram. And I'm like, what the hell is an angiogram? And he explained the process to me, and he pulled my ticket. And I don't mind telling you, I was pissed off. I was absolutely pissed off because he was taking my dream away from me that I worked so hard for. And this process really took a long time for him to get to the point where he actually did the surgery. So now I'm in the surgery at 22 years old doing an angiogram, and he found 3 arteries over 99% clogged at 22 years old. So he did an angioplastic where they do a little balloon process, opened him up and put me on a regimen of medicines and all of those types of things. So every 6 months, because now I'm a commercial pilot, every 6 months, if you can imagine this, I had to go through an angiogram in order to renew my license. So every 6 months I went through this invasive process to make sure that everything in the chambers of my heart were okay. So every 6 months for the next 4 years, I went through this process. So I left Continental because what I really wanted to do is I wanted to fly helicopters. So I went to work for the Houston Police Department flying helicopters and airplanes for the Houston Police Department because as a young boy, that was what really inspired me to do this aviation thing. So I'm now at the police department, still have to have a commercial ticket. So every 6 months for now the next 14 years, hundreds of procedures, I had to go through an angiogram. So here's the message that I want y'all to get from this. You can't give away something that you don't have. Who you be, they will become. So for me, I've been teaching my 4 sons these lessons for all of my life. And I had an opportunity through this process to prove those things to them again and again and again. What it meant to be self-confident, what it meant to be bold, what it meant to be empathetic and sensitive. And all of the things that I was teaching them, I was getting a chance to reinforce through this process. When you run into a circumstance, don't tuck your tail and run away. Take it on head on. Because a lot of y'all go into these processes with a plan. Can y'all hear me, yes or no?
Yes.
Your plan is useless in the midst of a battle. Did you hear me, yes or no?
Yes.
It's useless. As long as the sun is shining, your plan is good. It's going to be okay. But as soon as the storms roll in, your plan is useless. So, and that's where we've got to come to in this process. That's what it means to be in the moment. Focus on a specific outcome, willing to do whatever it takes to get to that outcome. So after going through hundreds of these procedures in order to keep my pilot's license, because it's what I really wanted to do, I got to a point in 2006 where I had run my 6th marathon because, again, I wanted to prove to my boys that, it's just a circumstance. I mean, so keep living your life out on the edge, because if you're not living your life out on the edge, you're taking up far too much room. Did y'all hear me, yes or no? Yeah, if you're not living out on the edge like Heather was just a moment ago, you're taking up far too much room. Because if you don't become comfortable with being uncomfortable, then you're just waiting to die. You're just existing. You're just playing not to lose. So in 2006, I'm out one morning getting ready for my 6th marathon. And I felt a little weird, but because I had been through this protocol many times over, I knew right away that I'm gonna go get me some breakfast, take a shower, take care of some business, and then I'll drive myself to the emergency room because I knew what their protocol was, and I knew I was going to be there all day long. So I went through that process. I drove myself to the emergency room and went inside, and they went through this protocol, and my doctor was on vacation. And the ER doctor called him and said, I can't find anything wrong, but this is what he's complaining about. And my doctor says, I know this guy really well, and we had a love-hate relationship. He says, don't let him go. He says, I'm going to come in on vacation because I know this guy. He would not have come in if something was not really wrong. So he comes in and he looks at me and says, look, Mike, I need to take you into the cath lab and see what's going on. Took me into the cath lab. He was inside of the chambers of my heart for about 5 minutes, and he says, Mike, we got to go to surgery, and we got to go to surgery now. So I absolutely agreed to that. My family was not there yet. They all rolled in about the time I was going into the ER, into the operating room. And when they got there, my wife looked at me and she said, this is what you've been teaching all of us. This is what you've been saying to your boys. So I just want to remind you of it. So can y'all hear me, yes or no?
Yes.
Don't tell your God how big your problems are. Tell your problems how big your God is. That's what she said to me. She did, Will. And immediately I felt this incredible power of calmness coming over me. Whatever's going to happen right now is going to happen. The life that I'd already lived was going to be the final story that was going to be on that piece of rock that was going to be on my tombstone. Can y'all still hear me, yes or no?
Yes.
Take a look at how you're living your life. Because all of the choices that you're making is creating that story that's going to be told about you when you're gone. How are you handling the circumstances in your life? Because a circumstance is a circumstance is a circumstance. It does not get to create the reality. Your choice is creating the reality. Tracking, yes or no?
Yes.
So I go to surgery. They do quintuple bypass surgery. I didn't even know they did that. I'd heard about quadruple and some other shit. But when he said quintuple, I was like, that's like 5? And he was like, yeah, that's 5, bro. So, I'm this guy that I'm always thinking, so how can I take advantage of this opportunity and one more time prove to my boys that this is not just lip service that I've been giving them for all of these years, but I get an opportunity to prove that this is really real for me. So 6 months later, I decided to go run my 7th marathon. And I'll never forget that marathon because my boys were every other mile, and we slang more snot and tears during that race as they supported me as I ran that 7th marathon. And an opportunity once again to prove to them that who you be, they will become. Are y'all still with me, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, so here is what I want to say to you. In the context of the conversation that we're having with ourselves, as I have made choices in my life, I realize that those choices are going to live way beyond me. It is ultimately not going to matter what the score is on the scoreboard. What's going to matter is how I played the game. How you are playing the game is going to live beyond whatever your score is, or how much money you have in the bank, or how much stuff you have acquired. The who you be is going to live beyond that. Tracking, yes or no?
Yes.
So this is what I was considering when I was listening to Mr. Brown yesterday, because it was an interesting conversation that I was having with myself. If I were to die today, what would they say about me? What would be the message on that rock that is at the headstone of my grave? And I contemplated that for the last couple of days. So I don't know how you would answer that, but can y'all hear me, yes or no?
Yes.
My clients in this room, what they would say about me is that he was available for me, that he cared about me, that he put himself out there for me. I don't care when and how many times I called him, he responded. He was there for me. He never, ever told me what I wanted to hear. He told me what I needed to hear. That's what they're going to say about me. Can y'all hear me, yes or no?
Yes.
What my family and friends are going to say about me, my team members at Discover, my team at Discover is going to say, He was bold. That he went out on those skinny branches where Real Roger said the sweet fruit is. He did it again and again and again. He got knocked flat on his ass several times. He got up and he dusted himself off, got back into the game again and again and again until he was successful. He was the type of guy that was not just a boss, he was my friend. So I don't know the choices that you have made in your life, and I don't know what they're going to say about you. But I do know this. Every choice that we are making every day of our lives is going to determine what they're going to say about you when you're gone. And when the day comes that you are lying on your deathbed and you're asking yourself that all-important question, did my life count? Did it really matter? Again, I don't know the answer that you're going to have for yourself, but I absolutely know the answer that I have. Because I have not left butt prints on the sidelines. I have left footprints absolutely leading the way, not waiting for somebody else to take the lead. And that's the choice that I've made in my life. So when I die and they put my body in that casket, my family and friends are not going to be walking around that church saying, "My, he looks rested. My, he looks at peace." Hell no. They're going to say, "He looks tired. He looks worn out." And ladies and gentlemen, when they close that casket and they put my crusty body in the ground, my tombstone, the last message on, is going to be all used up. Because the choice that I'm making every day of my life is to play full out. I know that there are going to be circumstances that are going to happen I have no control over. But I know that the one and the greatest gift that I have is the gift of choice. And that I can make the choice to choose to believe anything. My question to you, why not choose to believe in yourself? I know what my wife's going to say about me, Jared. She's going to say, he was patient with me. That he supported me. That he washed the dishes and put some clothes in the dishwasher, in a washing machine, and folded clothes. He was the type of guy that was just there to support. But most especially y'all, can you hear me, yes or no? Yes. I know what my 4 boys are going to say. They're going to say, "That's my dad, and he's my hero. He showed me how to treat a woman. He taught me how to live my life on purpose. He showed me what it meant to look a circumstance in the face and feel the fear and do it anyway." And I just ask all y'all to consider, what story are you writing with your choices? And what are they going to say about you when you're gone? Thank y'all very much.